Our big story tonight, President Trump's administration considering drastically cutting the number of refugees allowed into the U.S. for this upcoming year.
The administration has already historically capped the refugee resettlement program at 30,000 refugees, but now there's talk the cap could be as low as 0, making it so no refugees would be granted access into the U.S.
I spoke with a local humanitarian group on how this could affect refugees attempting to find safety in Arizona.
The number currently is already at a historic low, and it's too low. Continued cuts are unfair, they're inhumane, and they're strategically irresponsible.
As the Trump administration weighs its next move, around 30,000 refugees already in the process of being resettled in the United States can potentially be facing an uncertain future.
They're survivors of torture that can't find safety in their home country or in their countries of first refuge. They're religious minorities fleeing religious persecution.
The current cap for the number of refugees admitted into the U.S. every year stands at 30,000. That's already a steep cut in comparison to the 110,000 per year when President Obama left office. In October 2017, the Department of Homeland Security announced a tightened vetting process for refugees, including increased data collection to more thoroughly investigate applicants, better information sharing between agencies to identify potential threats, and new training procedures to strengthen screener ability to detect fraud and deception. According to the International Rescue Committee, Arizona has been one of the states that's taken in the highest number of refugees. Arizona Department of Economic Security numbers show that by last month, more than 1,200 refugees had resettled into the state. Cronkite News reached out to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, but they would not comment on the record. However, according to the Immigration Nationality Act, quote, the number of refugees who may be admitted under this section in any fiscal year after fiscal year 1982 shall be such number as the president determines. End quote. Because the decision ultimately is in the hands of President Trump, local and state lawmakers are calling on him to actually increase the cap. Through this letter, they urge your administration to resettle at least 95,000 refugees in fiscal year 2020. The letter is signed by 35 lawmakers from Arizona alone. While the United States has a history of opening its doors to those who are fleeing war and genocide, there's much uncertainty on what will happen next.
It's up to us to continue that legacy that has been going through the past generations, to continue to keep America's doors open to folks who are fleeing that violence and persecution.
Now, even though President Trump does have the power to enact this new cap, the Immigration Nationality Act does state there needs to be appropriate consultation and justified by a humanitarian concern or in the interest of the country before any major adjustments can be made.